We harvested our garlic, I believe it was 11 days ago now. I talked about it in detail as far as how we harvested and what these racks are all about in the video I just put out. I'll link to that here if you're interested in seeing that. And lots of interest in that video, lots of questions, so I thought I would elaborate a little more, but then also show what the next stage is. Our vertical stacking system with these crates did a really nice job with the fans blowing air through them in the last almost 2 weeks in drying down all the mud, all the soil to a fine dust. The outer skins are nice and crispy, and so we're going to move these to the next stage, which is to sort them for seed garlic, for eating garlic, and get them to the next phase so we can recover these crates for other projects. The first thing I want to address, there was a common theme to a question where folks were asking, because what we do is a little bit different than a lot of videos or recommendations. A lot of folks will pull their garlic on a nice dry day, knock some of the soil off the roots, and then tie bundles of 10, 20, or 30 or something of hardneck or softneck garlic, leave them in a breezy place. That's wonderful. If that's what you do, that's amazing. In fact, we made some videos. We actually have a whole garlic playlist, but we've made videos in the past talking about how we hung our garlic. The main reason we cut the bottoms and the tops off, we just simply don't have the space. Our garage is 16 feet by 16 feet, and we're trying to cure thousands of heads of garlic. So if you do it a way that you like, keep doing it that way. Okay, so what we do here is we're bringing rack by rack out to a nice comfortable space. Before, Sasha was in the garage processing these, and it's just way more nice for us to be outside. And what's nice about having them in front of me, they let me make a real quick decision about which heads are small enough that we'd like to set these aside for eating in the winter. Now in our case, I talked to a local supermarket and they were willing to sell me milk crates for $2 a piece. That was what their deposit was. Milk crates are pretty wonderful. They breathe on all the sides, they stack well, and if we fill them to right below the handles, it's a comfortable weight to carry. So you might want to talk to local supermarkets to see if you can get access to those. As we're touching the garlics to transfer them to the different eating garlic, seed garlic, and personal use seed garlic, we're touching the skins and letting a little bit fall off. I'm not going in and ripping layer after layer after layer. I've seen this before. So for example, with an eating garlic, what you want to avoid doing is when you're ready to store them, biting in with fingernails and going down 3 or 4 layers. I mean, this is an extreme example, but I've seen people do things like this where they peel so much skin off to get it as clean as possible that you end up, that's a very vulnerable head of garlic. Most folks wouldn't go that far, but I've seen that. Really what we want to do is take the outermost skin that's dried. If it's loose, let it fall off. If it's not loose, we'll just knock whatever soil is there. That's a beautiful seed garlic. We're also taking a really quick look as we knock off the last bits of soil and any loose paper. Are there distinct wounds? Are there discolorations? We have yet to see any, but you might find in the roots if there's a pinkishness, or is it soft? Is there something off about the head of garlic? If you see that, this is a moment to look for that. Do not put it where you're going to store your seed for fall planting or for sales. It can either be for eating later on, or better yet, really off-looking garlic can be in a container to enjoy in the next week or 2. They're not poisonous, they won't hurt you, but you don't really want to store them with everyone else. Basically, crate by crate at this point, we're going to go through and look for the absolute largest seed to set aside as premium. Each year we're selecting for the very largest heads that we find in our site conditions and setting those aside to continue on the selection each year. The really nice size heads that are still incredibly good for planting are going in our crates that will be available for folks that are interested in growing out garlic from seed. So for example, these are nice representative heads of what we try to offer to people. And again, we'll do the tiniest ones off to the side for eating. Even though the bottoms of these are nice and dry, the outermost paper is super dry. It peels off and blows away in the breeze. These are not done being cured. If we took these garlics and put them in a plastic bag, twisted it up and put it in a closet, 100% they would definitely rot. If we put 50 pounds of them or hundreds of them in an onion sack, even with good airflow, the interior would rot. So if you have a place where you can hang garlic that has good breeze, it's not in direct sunlight, it's a little bit warm, you can keep it there until it starts to cool off in the fall, that's awesome. Let them cure as long and slow, evenly as possible. It'll be so important that as we consolidate and sort this garlic, that we're really aware that the curing process continues. So these breathable crates, milk cartons being really nice. I mean, heck, you could use cardboard boxes with some slits cut if that's what you had. These folding crates, for what it's worth, I went to a local supermarket and talked to a produce manager, and she said that once in a while they throw these out. I gave her a bunch of free garlic and asked her to set them aside, and she did. And we have about 20 of them now. They would have gotten thrown out. Maybe where you live, a chat with a produce manager might get you some of these folding crates too. But we'll have fans on these for the next few weeks, and we'll rotate them every couple of days. Here's one of the good reasons why touching the garlic fairly often is not a bad idea. By knocking soil off, peeling skins as they worked, I felt just a little bit of softness in this garlic. I wouldn't have seen that, but if this was in the center of a big group of garlic, it may have turned the whole batch. So if you're interested in seeing, as I peel this open, why this happened, I couldn't say, but this garlic is oddly soft, and I suspect could be that it's actually just fine, but the cloves are a little misformed, but that would be completely safe to eat. And something's just a little off about that. The skin is really, really thick. Maybe it would have dried down in a fine way. And in fact, oh my gosh, what the heck is that? Okay, what? That could have been the largest seed clove on the face of the earth, but instead I peeled it open. But what are you gonna do? The softness was because the skin layers had formed. Something's a little bit off. It's wonderful, but maybe we'll just indulge in a ridiculously large clove of garlic instead of trying to store that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm hoping for those of you that haven't grown garlic before, that seeing some of this demonstration helps it feel like it's not that hard or complex. For what it's worth, if anyone's interested, it was back in 2007 that I got started growing garlic. I volunteered with a wonderful organic farmer named Sarah Brown. Shout out to you. She was a horse-based farmer in Brooktondale, New York, who grew about an acre or two of garlic per year. She valued my time at $8 an hour. She valued her garlic at $8 a pound. I worked for a day, got cleaning garlic so she could braid them, and got started with my seed garlic from her that day. And so wherever you are, you might be able to have relationships with folks to not have to spend a lot of money to get going with garlic. All these years later, a couple of times splitting the seed stock with folks that we've shared and all that, and we're up to thousands of heads. So each year you can ramp up garlic in wonderful ways and build an actual small enterprise selling seed if that's of interest to you. Let us know if you have any questions and how we can be supportive, and happy growing.